And we are live. Welcome back to Reads Readers with your host Kalyant, and welcome to our live show discussion for Ball. And we already have Karina here saying, "Hey, excited to hear everyone's thoughts on this." Um, Let us start with our introductions and starting ratings. I will kick it off to Nikki to start.
Hi, I'm Nikki. I think my rating is sitting between a 3 and maybe a 4. That's the high end. So it just depends on how I'm feeling after the discussion. But yeah, I think it's somewhere in there.
And well, hi, I'm Hope. I'm here for almost every single one of these live shows, it feels like. I mean, I'm a host, but you get it. But I'm giving this like a 3.5. It could be a 4 after the discussion. It could go down. I don't know. Like, I'm kind of just saying like 3.5 is like the. I think so.
Yeah.
Well, y'all are on my channel, Avi. Um, I'm sitting at between a 3.5 and a 4 myself. When I originally finished it, I went, oh, this is a 2. This was way too happy. And then I went, hold on, Clint. You're in your own feels. Let's reevaluate the actual book. And it's not the book's fault if it's happy. You knew going into it was going to be happy.
Mm.
So that's where I came up with the 3.54.
Okay.
Okay.
It
So, like,
looks
I
like,
feel like we're all like similar.
which
Yeah.
is good, which hasn't happened in a minute with these books. Um, Karina gave it a 4. Hi, Misty. Misty said she's between a 3 and a 3.5. So basically, everybody is still in the same.
Yeah. I think that's where I'm more leaning is a 3 or 3.5. But it could also, I don't know. I don't know. It could go down too. I don't. I've got thoughts.
Well, I don't really have really in-depth questions because there's no, like, our questions aren't, like, there wasn't a lot of substance in the book to be like, let's dive into this
Hmm.
and have a full-on discussion about this.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I just have the basic questions, which happens sometimes with these books. So let us talk about the characters. What did y'all think of Angel and
Fee.
V?
Is it?
My brain went
Yeah.
completely blank for a second.
I didn't hate him or love him. I don't know. I was kind of middle of the road with both of them. Fee, I think, drove me nuts a little bit more than Angel did, but they were, fine. As far as least favorite character, even though at the end I think they mentioned like they had changed and they were actually a nice person, like the Angel's ex or her
So, like,
first.
Nate.
Yeah, I did not like how he handled that situation at the beginning, and so for that, I think he's my least favorite.
Yeah, that situation is shockingly one of the things where it's like, I forgot that that was a trigger warning when that happened, but we'll get to that eventually.
Yeah, that was a whole
But
situation I was not prepared
yeah,
for.
That whole thing, I went, why are we having this
where,
discussion? Because it went
Mhm.
nowhere afterwards. So I was
yeah,
like,
It
what
was
was
like
the
a
point of
thrown
this?
in. Yeah.
yeah. But thoughts on the characters is I would say they all definitely felt very like authentically themselves,
Hmm.
but they were too happy. It felt. I'm like, nobody's this happy 100% of the time.
Well, but like speaking of that, like there was just no conflict really, and there's like rolling on the everybody's so happy is like at some point like they talked a little bit about grief, which I loved, but they never really, except for maybe a slight scene here or there, they actually like delved into the grief like as a different emotion other than just being happy and horny. And yeah, so I agree.
Yeah.
I agree with everything, and Misty says that Nate was her least favorite as well.
Yeah. What a tool bag.
I mean, Nate was the only character in the entire thing that did anything negative.
Yeah, that's true. I think that's why
Yeah.
I targeted him.
I'm like,
And that's what I mean.
legitimately.
Like everybody's too happy. Like there was no
Yeah.
conflict, even like between like like friends or the coworkers. Like little things besides like, oh, do your job at the fire
Right.
Also,
station, where it's like,
can, can we also talk about the fact that I feel like we're missing something? Because at one point, one of the characters was like, yeah, when I moved to this town and found out they were trans inclusive and the entire town is full of queer people of color, I went, is this book connected to other books?
it is.
Because you're trans. When did that get discussed?
Wait, who's trans?
One of the firefighters.
I thought I missed that completely.
Oh
But
yeah, like
I
what?
will.
Yeah, what guys?
Yeah, that was another thing too. And I'm not saying that, like, I don't want this to come off negatively, but like, there was no conflict around that either. Like, how every character kind of seemed to be queer in a way. And it was just like, they were so kind of weird about being seen together, like, making it known that they were like a couple for a minute in certain situations. And then, like, everything was fine, which is great. I love that for them. But like, there was just no conflict for anything, no pushback, no questioning, no nothing. So I think that was just
It was legitimately like I don't mind that there's no conflict. I don't mind that we got a pure, unadulterated, pure, sweet, like wholesome book. But it's like we had like two major things brought in.
mm,
We had the pregnancy, that's all I'm gonna say on that one.
yeah,
And then we had the fire.
yeah,
Like the fire
But
was the only conflict.
hmm,
nothing came of it. So it's like you gave us those, and then it like we had like a small little moment with Angel going, "I need you to walk away.
teeny tiny,
Let me
yeah.
think." And then it was just like, "Oh no, get back here, get back here." Like an hour later, and I'm like,
Yeah, there was no character development really. It was there's also like I think one of my notes was literally the beginning. It's like we have a couple of chapters that are like the setup, and then you just jump to like a month later where it's like, huh?
Yeah.
Wh
But that's
where's
how I
that
feel like
first
it
month?
was.
Like
Yeah. That's how it was, I
like
feel like
later
through
in the
that
book I
whole book.
didn't mind the like time jumps, but like it was like they just met, they just went on a date, and now it's a month later, and we didn't
Hmm.
see any of that like actual buildup of the relationship. Just, oh, they basically are in love with each other a month later. It's like, come
Yes.
again, this isn't how things work sometimes.
Yes.
um,
I put that in my notes. I said everything was kind of, it moved too fast, but it was like very instant. And then the just like lack of the details. Because it literally went from they met, they went on a date, they were in love within like just a little whirlwind. And I was like, holy shit.
yeah, there. It felt like there was no show, and it was more tell.
Yeah.
That's what Misty's comment says, and I 100% agree.
But we have Misty liked that the book wasn't full of drama and a third act breakup. I was so happy that there was no third act breakup. I'm so tired of romance novels throwing in a third act breakup for no reason.
I kind of expected one after the fire.
I did too.
I kind of did too, but I was like, when they didn't do it, I went, okay, I actually appreciate that. Um, I'm starring this. Happy and horny is a great combo. Um, Karina didn't mind that this had no real conflict, unsurprisingly.
Well, I think that, I mean, it's kind of a nice refresher, right? Because every romance has either a third act breakup or like pushback or something happening. So I guess in that sense, like it is a nice little refreshing thing. But I think for me, the problem was it was just too much good, too much happy. Give me something.
Like, we didn't need like
Yeah.
some huge conflict to go down. We
Right.
needed the grief to be discussed a little bit better.
I would have loved
The maybe going a little bit more into detail about the pregnancy thing. Maybe
Yeah.
which could have been a helper for people who read this. The fire needed a little bit more tension because
Yeah.
it was like, oh, she lost the bakery. Oh, why she's in the hospital, the town has been taking care of it. Okay, so there's no thought of her ever
Yeah.
losing the bakery. So I'm like, there's those little things. It didn't need to be a conflict within the couple,
Right.
but the little things outside of it felt like we're just scratching the surface when we need just a hair more
Hmm.
to make them feel like real characters.
Yes. I also
Yeah.
was expecting more with the grief because that was one thing that was discussed at the beginning of the book, that to expect it, and it was brought up obviously, and there was a couple moments, but it was just like there was no real deep dive on. They both shared the trauma of it, which I loved that they shared that, but there really wasn't a huge deep, I don't know, discussion or like moment for them to like just
Yeah.
sit in the grief and maybe even discuss it more outside of they shared it and then they just moved on. And I was like, oh,
I
okay.
feel like it's almost like with the like discussion of the grief is that the author was almost maybe a little too scared to go deeper.
Mhm.
And like so that's why like they just wanted to scratch the surface of it, but it should have been dug in deeper a little bit.
See, and another thing that wasn't discussed was the fire. How did the
Yeah,
fire happen? She put
nothing.
cakes in an oven and fell asleep. Wouldn't the cakes be just burnt and there'd be a lot of
Burn.
smoke, not actual flames?
Yeah,
Unless
we
it
didn't
was
get
like hours.
yeah.
But
So it's like there was no discussion on what happened so that she doesn't do it in the future.
There
Was
was
the
just really
thing.
not a huge discussion on the fire, especially when it's like when we hit the title, right? I was like, oh, this is gonna be good. We're gonna get so much juiciness coming from this. And then that was it. So it's like we built up this whole book based on this fire, basically, right? And we have a firefighter. We knew because again, it was discussed at the beginning of the book, like there's going to be trauma from a fire, and it just was so cut and dry with the fire itself was like 2 seconds long, and then all of a sudden she was in. Also, while I'm here, like she was in a coma for like a week from smoke inhalation. Like what? I didn't understand that because she was like out for 6 days. They said after the fire.
yeah,
Well, they
it
said
was
it
like the
was.
smoke inhalation, her previous health issues, and then also the fact that
Over.
she was just so burnt out.
Oh, okay.
But I still wish they would have gone a little more in depth.
Which
Yeah.
I didn't even see that she was burnt out. It was
There was
like
no indication of that. They were
no
jumping around
indication.
doing whatever.
And it was like everyone else was sick. She mentioned before baking the cakes and that she was kind of tired. Okay, you've ran the bakery for a couple of days by yourself.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Yeah.
You're
understandable.
That's understandable when you're the bakery owner. You can't tell me she hasn't done this before.
Yeah.
So it's like, but there was also no discussion that the fire happened on her grandmother's birthday. She mentioned before she fell asleep that
Yeah.
it was her grandmother's birthday.
But yeah,
Mm-hmm.
but there was no other mention of that at all. It's like, really? You're just
My
gonna
brain,
briefly mention that fact and then just not bring it up?
my brain went, oh, she's gonna think something about that. Like, oh, this is a sign or something. So I was like, where are we gonna go with this? So, Karina says it was a side character, so maybe that's why it wasn't a big focus. Maybe the author wanted to focus on the positivity with queer characters instead of adding on to the long-standing traumas of the community, which I agree.
Yeah.
That's what
Which,
I definitely think the author took the path of.
which, when we get to the comparison to other books, I have a book that I will bring up that the community kind of made me think of. So, that I read back in high school. There was a lot of telling and not showing. and that was the biggest complaint.
Yeah.
Karina's like, it was a total vibes, I think. This is a book that I would recommend to people. You want vibes, you want happy, you want smut, here you go.
Yeah.
You want little conflict, little character development, here you go. I'm always expecting third act breakups, so it's nice when there isn't one. Karina liked the chapter titles and how they correlated each chapter.
Mm-hmm.
I
I love when books do that.
I listened to it, so I don't think I noticed that much.
It took me a couple chapters to realize it.
Yeah, I really like when they do that because then you kind of get an expectation of what's coming in that chapter.
Karina says it wasn't a coma, I don't think. Probably more exhaustion and breathing complications.
Yeah, I don't think they said it was a coma, but they did
Oh
say
no,
she was
the doctor said
out of it for 6 weeks.
doctor said that she was in a coma. They said coma for like comatose sleep or something.
Yeah,
I remember the word coma brought up, and I was like, wait, you can do that from smoke inhalation? What?
Well, that's why I was confused because I was like, why was she out of it for 6 days from a smoke and a fire? But, I guess everything else, they maybe needed her to rest up and heal, I guess. That's what they said, I think.
And then Karina says maybe the author didn't have enough knowledge on the medical side of things and played it safe.
Was it this book? I don't know. I was kind of reading a few different books at the same time, but I was the author, because at the beginning of the book, they kind of talked about the content warning, right? And then was she the one who was like, if anything's wrong in this book, like I did my best on the research?
I think so.
Okay. So at least she was upfront about that and said like she did her best with that. So I'm not looking for perfection from her in any book really, because they're just all writers. They're not in these fields and doing all these things, right? So yeah, that didn't, I guess, bother me, but it was just odd because we didn't get that was the thing, is I don't feel like we just didn't get a lot of context on a lot of different things. But
well, because we're talking about different scenes and stuff, does anybody have like a favorite scene that they really loved that stood out?
my least favorite scene is that whole conversation about the pregnancy. That gave me sick.
Yeah.
Favorite scene? Oh, I have a favorite scene. It was because I put it in my notes too, not necessarily about the scene, but kind of just what it was like representing for the characters, was when they were fishing and they were kind of just talking about how I think it was Angel who was talking to Fee about like how she kind of lights up when she's sharing her hobbies with Angel. And I just really love that because then Fee was like, yeah, you do too. And I just love when we can do that with each other. So I think that was a really sweet moment because I love when couples, even if they don't have the same common interests or the same hobbies, they share it with each other comfortably. And then the other one actually is excited with them to just be in their presence for that thing that person loves. And I just really love that. That was one of the highlights for me.
I will say one of my favorite scenes, which is very unrealistic of a scene, was when Fee went shopping to get the stuff to ask the girlfriend out.
Oh my gosh.
That was such an unrealistic, but then my brain went, I want someone to do this for me.
I want to bring something up with that scene because I put it in my notes. Did anybody catch the Labubu reference?
Yes.
When she was shopping? I was like, ain't no way. We're actually bringing up Labubus right now?
I love that.
Just a cool 300. That's fine.
Oh, $300, that's fine. I went, excuse me?
I'm like, what the fuck?
My thing is what made that unrealistic is you're a small town firefighter.
And I'm glad you brought that up because I was literally like, how's she doing this on a firefighter salary? Because I know what they make. And it ain't good. It ain't good for that. Like, but they both said they had a savings, like a good savings. Like they both, I think, mentioned that. So
I'm like, that's fine and dandy, and I knew she worked outside of the small town for a little bit. But you're a small town firefighter, and you're like, oh, $300. I've only gone on 1 or 2 dates with this girl. It's fine. Let's blow the money.
Yeah,
And
it's
I'm
like
like, my brain went, U-Haul lesbian alert is
I
what they.
literally think actually maybe one of my
Um, Misty
did that
says
was that something I made a note on?
Misty says it's not a least favorite scene, but she didn't like how forward Fee was with Angel when they met the second time.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I. Oh. Also, it's not a scene, but like kind of going in the same vein as Missy is like it wasn't the scene, but it was like kind of a thing when they met up with when they were out in the town on vacation or whatever, and they met Angel's like college roommate or whatever. She introduced Fee as her girlfriend, and then Fee was like, "Actually, I'm her future wife." I'm like, can you just sit down and let her introduce you and like
Yeah,
make
for
this?
two fucking seconds.
Come on, what?
Okay. In my defense, because I hang out with a lot of lesbians, that didn't seem all that out of the norm for lesbians because they're like, oh, future wife, but 3 weeks later they're broken up. But so to me, that line was like, oh, okay.
That was just too much. She was doing too much. Fee was doing too much for me. Oh, and the nickname. I'm sorry, I'm veering off topic right now, but the nickname, Sweets, every 5 seconds.
No. Yeah, I was like,
Please.
yeah. Like, I
Karina,
like nicknames in books, but not every freaking sentence.
Oh my gosh, it was nonstop.
for some reason, I wasn't expecting the proposal scene to be staged. She was possessive and wanted them to know. Uh, I was like, yes, claim her.
You were like, yay, and I was like, ugh, gross.
Yeah. I'm like,
And I was over here going, ugh, lesbians. Such a U-Haul moment.
that's literally one of my notes is like kind of to do with the beginning of like definitely needed more from the beginning, jump from first date to 1 month later, needed more building, as was very, very insta love and U-Haul lesbian.
Yes.
It's literally one of my notes. And I was
She
like,
was
but I
just
get it.
she was just down bad.
Bad.
Also, I didn't get small town vibes from this book. Every small town romance I've ever read has the people in the community trying to play matchmaker and being nosy. There really wasn't any nosy neighbors in this.
No, but I do
Yeah,
like
no.
with the small townness of it. I think I got that more from like how everybody kind of knew each other and like
Mm.
did seem to be a big family in itself.
To me,
Yeah,
see,
and I mean there was that.
go ahead.
And if you want to go, okay. I was just gonna say with the playing matchmaker, it's like it's clear that obviously Fee's sister was trying to play the matchmaker beforehand, so at least there is that little like nod to that trope of like somebody in the town trying to set you up because you're single. So there was that little like this is what was happening before Angel moved to town and that stuff happened.
I will mention there's only like one character that we really know outside of either one's family, and that is the diner owner. We meet like two other people outside of the family besides her workers.
Yeah.
The firefighters count as part of Fee's family. And then you got all of because she works with her uncle
Yeah.
at the firefighter, and then one of them's her cousin. So there's family there, and then you got all of Angel's like brothers and uncles and aunts who own that
Oh, the restaurant or whatever they went to.
The winery
the winery Grove restaurant thing,
thing.
and
Yeah.
then you got Fee's twin sister. But then you only got like one major character outside of all of that. and that was the deli guy, and he was just like, "Well, I knew y'all were down for each other back then." I was just like, "Okay."
I kept on forgetting all of the side characters' names.
Oh, I couldn't keep any
I
of them
kept on
straight.
getting them confused.
There was no.
Especially with the
So
audiobook, there was no differences in the firefighters' voices.
No, I couldn't. I couldn't tell you who was who.
And I agree with
that's the thing
this.
where it's like they. Oh yes.
I did like when the firefighters went to visit Fee at the cabin.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, her sister, but to me that's different than people in the community. Agree.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I can see what you're saying, Misty. Yeah, because like, what is it? Like for just for an example, like pumpkin spice. What is it? Pumpkin spice cafe or whatever. And it's like the whole community is just kind of there and like a part of it and stuff like that. So yeah, I can see that.
Take the Knock 'em Out series,
Yeah,
where we get more in depth for every one of the neighbors and all of that. So it's like I was sitting here going, I get that we have a short book, but how many people are actually in this town that are not related?
Yeah.
Like, what about the customers? You could have at least like had some like random customers. You don't even have to mention them by name, but like
Yeah.
mention like hair color or something, and then maybe we see that character later on.
it was just. I think it was just more focused on like literally Angel and seeing and that.
Well, besides the party scene with the outing in front of everybody, the pregnancy debacle, is there any other scenes that we do not like?
That was really the only one that comes to mind.
Yeah.
Same.
Like I feel like there was nothing that was so memorable that it's a favorite, but nothing so like ugh, where it's a least favorite. It's just like the book happened and it was enjoyable.
Yeah, that's exactly it. The book happened.
The book happened.
Oh, it hurts to laugh. um, did anything in the book shock you?
That whole scene with Nate.
I feel like we've already kind of discussed it with
Yeah.
like the pregnancy thing and then the fire and those kind of things.
Yeah, it would have been nice to see the whole community come together in the end to help them get their happily ever after or grand gesture, like the usual small town moments. I'm like,
Yeah.
I felt like we got that just from the jewelry store.
That was like the only
Yeah.
only one.
I'm like, and then Karina says this is true about that scene.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I just felt like that scene wasn't necessary. Like, if
And
you
then
take that out of the book, nothing in the story will change.
no, but
Yeah,
but then I was just a little confused because so we had all that whole scene, right? And then there was moments where Angel would be like, she's the only one I could see having a child with. But then at like other moments past that point that she had said that, she's like, yeah, we're never having kids. I'm never gonna have a kid. I'm like, okay, what is it? What are we doing here? We keep I feel like that was also unnecessary to kind of say. I mean, maybe it was just like heat of the moment because like I don't want children, but then there's times where I look at a man and I'm like, I could have your babies, you know? So maybe like that was what it was, but it was, I don't know. It just, that whole thing, I think just the whole baby's pregnancy thing because of that situation, just, I don't know. I didn't want to hear it.
Yeah, it was just such a weird. I'm like, and also I felt like the brothers didn't get angry enough. Like they were like surface level angry, but if you're that protective of your sister,
like there's gonna be some like fist swinging.
But everybody was happy.
I'm like, I've gone to enough big families. I'm like, I'm Southern, I'm from small towns, And I know how my southern family can throw down. And we're a white family of like I expected, like, because I've gone to gatherings of really big like groups of African American families and stuff like that. And I have had friends and I've gone to their gatherings where they've had dinners and stuff like that. And one person said something about a sister and fists immediately were swinging.
Well, that's usually
That
how it is.
happens at mine. I'm like, I feel like that's a southern thing. If you're in a southern small town and you're that protective, why isn't a fist being swung?
Well, I feel like that's any family because
Yeah.
it's like if you're
Oh, yeah.
protective that much of your sibling, and you learn something like that, especially a brother to a sister, when you learn something like that, you would expect a little bit more. But that's what I mean when I say there was like no conflict with anything. Like that could have
Yeah.
deserved. I would have loved to see a brawl happen.
Especially when they said that Nate was like one of their best friends.
Right.
Yeah, it's
And you're
like,
friends with
really?
them.
Like there should have been like, how dare you? They said the how dare you, and I'm like, oh, so we're gonna be acting like rich uppity families, and we're just gonna take our little white glove and just go smack smack with words, and I'm just like, this required a little bit more oomph. Fee was
Like,
getting
even if
more
not
into it.
fists, still more elevated words and maybe a little shoving.
Yeah,
At
something.
least.
Yeah,
Slap or
I'm like,
Yeah.
we got more from Fee than we did her brothers
yeah.
in that sense.
Yeah.
Oh, the fists would be flying.
Yeah.
I'm like, you have firefighters in that room. You have brothers.
I don't know
Like,
who. I don't remember who all heard it. When
well,
she
they
was
said the entire party got quiet when he yelled
Well,
it.
like
So
everybody
everybody
damn
turned.
near.
That's right.
So I was just like, her uncle didn't get involved too?
I
And
would have,
everyone,
if I would have been in the back, even I would have been like, "Excuse me, what did you say?"
What did you say? Something.
it's called Fist would be flying, and then after he gets kicked out of the party, they pull her aside and go, okay, what the hell were you thinking?
Well, yeah. This situation just wasn't. I don't think handled the way I would have liked to see.
Agreed. Okay. Any quotes that stood out?
No, but I do have something else that I wanted to say that is like words.
Oh, I have that kind of same thing too.
So no quote stood out, but besides the nickname that I couldn't stand, they said chubby a few times, which obviously she's a plus size queen. But like she did mention how her stomach was chubby and then she had chubby cheeks. And I was like, if somebody said that to me and tried to be intimate, I was like, no thanks. No thanks. Anyway,
I know, and my thing is kind of similar. It's just the word, as I read it, as our juices mix.
Oh my god! Thank you, thank
my
you.
God.
Yes.
I literally
Yes.
had to stop reading and just go, did I just read that? And then I reread it, and then I was like, my note is IDKY, but this gave me the it.
Yes.
Okay. When that was said, my brain literally stopped and I paused and I went, is that possible? Like, but then my brain, I went, okay, I don't have a vagina. I don't have sex with another vagina. So I don't know what two vaginas in the same room would end up doing. So I was just like, I just went, okay,
They
maybe
told
that
us
is,
what they were
maybe
doing.
that's always what that happens. And I'm just going to pass over this, is where my gay brain went.
It was, that was, I was like, oh, I did not need that. I did not need that. Thank
And
you so
wasn't
much.
that also while she was using a strap on? So my brain.
No, it was after because she had pulled it out
It was
and then
right
they
after.
were like scissoring after.
Like, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was like, I knew a strap on was being used in that moment. So my brain went, what
Which-
kind of strap on is this? Is this one that's double ended that was in her and then was using
No,
it
I
on
don't
her
think
so that they both? I
That's
was like, I'm so lost.
It would. I will say I'm really actually happy to see that they did that in a book because any other uh,
Yes.
lesbian romance that I've read before, you never see toys being used outside of like maybe something for the stimulation of something.
Hmm.
But it was really cool because like when she said I want to ride you, I was like thinking face. And then she pulled out the bag and I was like, oh my God, are we actually going to get a toy? Because this is going to be awesome. And so I was really happy to see the fact that a lesbian couple can use that and still have fun
Hmm.
together. So I was really happy about that. I will say that. But yeah.
Same. I was like, when the toy came out, I went, okay, we're having an authentic lesbian
Yeah.
relationship. Because I've read other sapphic books that I'm just like, no toys?
Yeah. Sapphic.
It's
That's what
like,
it was. I couldn't think of that word. Yes. That was fun to see.
Granted, like, I think the last book I read that brought out toys was one of the Pucking books. I want to say it. I know Pucking Wild, there's toys being played because she pegs him
yeah.
at one
I think
point.
it
So,
was
um,
awesome.
we have she deserved to be pampered and her body deserved to be worshipped. That gets starred. Oh yeah, I don't like how much her body size was mentioned. Agreed.
I did put in my notes like I was excited that it was a plus like a plus size rep because she did say she was like over 300 pounds. But then at another time, and I kept rewinding it, and I don't know if it was like my brain just not computing, and I couldn't tell if it was Fee or if it was Angel that was getting talked about. But it was basically like a chubby stomach, but also toned. And I'm like, well, no offense, but how can it be toned if she's over 300 pounds? So then I was like, maybe it's Fee, but Fee's jacked. So like I'm confused by this
Yeah.
situation that we're saying right now. It was just like, I'm sorry, but you can't be over 300 pounds and be toned and have a toned stomach, especially when they already had a scene where she was like rubbing her big stomach, her chubby stomach. And so it's like, what are we doing here? So yeah, the constant body
Let's go
comments.
back straight.
Yeah, it was just not my favorite.
Agreed.
But I did like that there was a rep. And then I will say one more representation that I really love to see was an Aries.
I was wondering if you were going to point that out.
That was my first note. Aries representation.
Another quote Karina has is, "I'd happily give you the world if it meant I'd always get to see you smile."
Mm. That's a good quote.
Juice's wood mix, LMAO.
Yeah.
It's like, but we don't need the description of that.
The demonstration from Hope for scissoring.
I like did it without even realizing too. I was like, oh, I did it.
Aries gang.
Yeah.
I loved all the representations. It just wasn't always handled properly, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Agreed. I feel like all these characters are very still two-dimensional to me. I think that was my main, like, I get that this is supposed to be happy, go lucky, let's just have fun kind of book, but I was just like, I wanted to get to know more of the characters.
Yeah. We needed more meat and potatoes with them.
And I wanted you to show me, not tell me.
Yeah. My biggest concern, like, not concern, I don't want to say that. My biggest issue, I think, was at some point, I think it was like Fee I think Fee was the one who brought up the fact that she was like in love with Angel first. And I'm like, are you though? Or are you just having really good sex? Because I feel like that's all we got was a whole bunch of sex and no real substance to the relationship outside of maybe a couple things here and there where they actually were spending time together and doing things outside of eating each other out. So yeah, that was, I think, just too much for me. I don't know how I got here, but yeah.
See, I don't mind the insta-love type thing at the beginning. Like, oh, met them first, thought. I read a lot of paranormal shapeshifter romances where it's insta-love because shapeshifters connect, whatever. So my brain didn't mind that part. It was, I didn't feel like the relationship got deepened.
Yeah.
It kept surface level.
Mm.
And then when they were like, oh, it's 7 months, we're going to propose. I can't say anything. I got engaged at 6 months. But then again, look at my situation now. So it's like,
Well, some people like there was a
yeah,
I think Angel had said it maybe, and she's like, when you know, but I think it was this book, right? I don't know.
yeah,
Anyway,
Yeah.
because we're only 7 months, right? And so it's like I get that, and that does happen. I know people who met and got married within weeks of knowing each other, and they're still married 25 years later. So it's like it does
yeah,
happen, and I get that. But I think again, like my problem is we got the immediate, and then a lot of sex, and I wanted to see where the actual what's holding you guys together outside of the sex, like outside of the bedroom. What's actually making this relationship work, because we barely see anything with you guys connecting and having those relationship things. But again, some relationships are just like that, so it is what it is.
yeah. I agree.
Mm-hmm.
Karina says they really did a lot of feasting in this book.
A lot.
Mm-hmm.
Golly.
I
uh,
mean, but in the author's, or not the author's defense, because I'm not going to defend what I'm about to say. Um, I have read better eating scenes in other books, to be perfectly honest. I mean, Risley Adams, for instance, with the book 8, that had this gay man going, "What the heck?" And I was like, I need a cigarette. So it's
Well, I
like,
think it was good. They had good scenes in here. I'm not gonna
Yeah,
yeah,
it
lie.
was good at least.
It was just a lot. And it just got redundant after a while. I was like,
I
okay,
think
I'd like the other.
Yeah, I
that
kind
might,
of almost started skimming some of the scenes because it's like, okay, we just had this in the last chapter, so unless I see anything new, we're just gonna
I will
skim
say
it.
I fast forward the audiobook a little bit during a couple of them towards the end because I was just like, I just want to finish the book. I
Yeah.
don't need another sex scene.
I want to finish the book. I don't need her to finish you right now. Like, let's just keep it
Yes.
moving. It was nonstop.
Yeah, the last half was just a lot of sex, and normally I am fine with sex, but the last half became all about the sex and nothing else.
Yeah,
I
and that was
need,
the problem, because then we had sex and then proposal. And I'm like,
Yeah, especially like the whole trip to like Miami where it was just like we only really saw them fucking in the hotel room and then it being mentioned that they extended their vacation. Like, why didn't you show us their extended vacation? What they did, how they like did that build that relationship more to get to the point of the proposal. Been
yeah.
like, okay, I had this vacation with my girlfriend. I love her. Like, I'm gonna propose now because I know this is what I want. It
Mm-hmm.
was just nothing.
I mean,
Nothing at all in the book. Like,
I've mentioned this with a book that we did for Fiction Falls. When it comes to like sex, I don't mind sex. Like, but when it also comes to like porn and stuff, I have to have a storyline or I'm not interested.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're just gonna throw in sex,
I was not prepared for that, but okay.
sorry, but like
Yeah.
I need a storyline or I can't get into, like, I'm not enjoying this scene. It's
Yes. You need to
legitimately not
feel.
doing anything for me because it's just two-dimensional characters. Okay, they're doing it. It's written really well. It's kind of hot what you're writing, but I don't feel them connected. I don't feel them into it. Like, I need to feel the tension between them. I need to, like, oh, is her leg quivering? I need to feel that through the writing and the connection of the characters. Or it's just surface level and I'm like, okay, I'm bored. Let's fast forward.
Yeah.
And that goes to any type of sex scenes and any type of books. And that also goes to like movie sex scenes. Like I need to make sure I'm feeling the connection between them or I'm just like, what is this?
Yeah.
What
I
is
agree.
this?
I agree.
Um I think this book also needed and edited a little more. I don't normally comment on editing issues, but when it starts to take me out of the story, I have to mention it.
Yeah.
mhm.
um, the gasp, I gasped, Clint.
Right? Unprepared. That was just like a hard in there. There's no warning, no flashing lights, no
I'm
nothing.
sorry,
Just
but it's the only thing I can think of when I'm trying to explain what I'm explaining. So I'm just
yeah, I
like,
get it.
I've said this before in a Fiction Falls live show when we read the vampire book, where I was like, I need more story. We were not wanting erotica. This is not listed erotica. If
Yeah.
I knew going into it, it was just all sex and no storyline, cool. That's my expectation going into the book.
Exactly. Exactly.
This is
See,
an expectation
that's
of a rom-com.
Hmm.
that's what got me in like kind of out of the book is I was expecting more of that rom-com book,
Mhm.
not it literally leaned more towards erotica, and I did not prepare for that.
Yeah. It just is a point where it's like, and I love sex in books, like I do, but like if there comes to be a point where it's if the sex is outweighing the actual story, then what are we actually achieving with this? Like what are we doing here? And I think
Mhm.
that's just like this book was like 80% sex, 20% anything. And yeah, I don't know. It was a lot. It just became a lot. It started a lot and then it became a lot. And then I feel like that I think that just like overtook the book itself and like my feelings overall because it was like, okay, what was the book outside of the sex? What is the book giving me outside of the sex? Not much.
Agreed. I'm like, if you take the sex out of the book, what do we have left?
Well, yeah, what's
Yeah.
left? Because
There's no meat left to the story,
yeah,
so to speak. So,
yeah.
Karina says valid points. Um, are you saying you want the tingles downstairs? I don't think it's I want the tingles. I think it's more of when I'm reading a book, I'm a very visual person in my brain. And
Mhm.
when I don't feel a connection between the two and it's just pure on sex, I can't visualize what's happening because it's such a two-dimensional. It very much feels like I have no story to be picturing in my head. Because sometimes with sex scenes, if I get confused on a position and I'm like, is that actually a position you can do? My brain tries to put the characters in that position just to see if it's possible. And
You
me
got to
as a
get
bigger,
Barbies for that.
I mean,
Just keep
I
Barbies
love.
next to you so you can try to put him in the position. I'm not kidding because like
No, I know.
sometimes I get confused and I'm like, what are we? What is it? Can my leg do that actually? Because what are we doing here? What
I
are we?
will
Oh, I
say,
have
What are
done
we
that
doing?
when I've been laying in bed reading. I'll literally be like, her legs like that. Could I do that? Half the time
Yeah.
I can't. I'm not that flexible.
No. I'm like, where are you guys? Are you guys practicing this with your husbands at home before you write
um,
this on the page? Because I need to know, is this possible? Somebody needs to do some testing for this
that is
stuff.
the one thing I will say about like authors like Emily Rath. She has been very vocal about like when she has written a sex scene and it doesn't make sense to her, she's like, wait. She will pull out the dolls and she will legitimately put them in it. And she's just like, okay, so if I did that, okay, I need to change that line because leg cannot bend that direction unless I
Yeah.
make her a contortionist, and she's not a contortionist. Okay, a guy with a beer belly like that can't bend this direction. He has to bend this way, type thing.
Yeah.
Like she has been very vocal. I watched an entire interview she did where she brought out the dolls and showed what she did with them
See?
to be like, this is
You
how I write my books.
Yeah. You have to have some sort of realism when you're doing this because otherwise, yeah, I can like what is it? What's the word? Suspend my belief
Mhm.
to a certain extent. But when there's some things and you're like, well, now I can't even focus on sex because I'm just trying to see how they're actually positioned. Because am I seeing this right? I don't know.
Mhm.
Um, Karina says that's true. Tell us this leans more erotica than plot. Hey CW, so valid. the hardware doesn't match up to yours. I'm sure a lot of cases it's a lot of fantasy mixed with reality, which I get. Like I said with Emily Rath, she has stated, well, I've never had sex with 5 other guys in the same room as me because I've never had the confidence. So I need to make sure I pull out the dolls to see the logistics of 5 guys, 1 girl type of thing as an example. And I went, well, that's good to know. Okay. Thoughts on the writing style? Positive, negative?
I love that in the writing you could tell that the characters were African American in their speaking and in just the way it was written. That's my favorite part of the book is
Yes.
I could hear them when I was reading almost of like knowing the little tone differences and just the way that they were speaking. So that's one thing I will give this book is the author did a good job at that.
Mhm.
I agree with that.
I agree with that too. Did this book remind you of any others? This is where I'll mention the way that the town was set up reminded me a lot of not Two Boys Kissing, Boy Meets Boy by David Levithan, where it's a small town and it's 100% okay that everybody's queer, which was the first time I had ever read that. And I think that's the part that I did not like about the book is it didn't feel realistic when I was younger. As an adult, I reread it. It went, okay, that makes sense. I wish I had a community like that.
Yeah.
We want books like that for our kids. But that's the only other book I could think of where it was a community where it was just like 100% everybody's okay that everybody's gay. And this just happens to be a community of POC characters in a small town where nobody in that town's white. It didn't seem.
I'm like trying to think.
I don't think so. I don't read a ton of sapphic, so as far as like the relationship goes, like I don't know. I just nothing really stands out for me as far as another book that it resemble personally.
While you're thinking on that, I hope I'll continue on with questions.
Yeah, I'm literally just like looking at through my Goodreads and I'm like, nothing sticking out where it's like this book is similar.
Yeah. I don't think I've read many books that are just like no conflict.
Yeah.
So, 1 second.
I don't think I've read too many small town, I feel like either. That's a like a trope that I do need to read a little bit more of.
I love me a good small town. I read a lot of small town.
I love
A
them when
lot.
I read them. I just never go out of my way to read them.
Okay. Would we ever reread? No.
No.
I don't see a need to reread.
No.
I would read more from the author
Yeah.
to give her more of a chance because she has like a huge backlist. That's why I was excited to add
Yeah,
her
and it
to this
looks like a
list.
lot of them are like some of them are connected to this series. So it's like I kind of want to read more to get maybe like a little bit more understanding of like the community of like the
Mhm.
town and more of like just the author's writing too. It's like, is this how she always writes or is there a little variation?
Um, Karina says maybe the view from the top in some ways. Small town, lots of happy, barely any conflict. Yeah, but the conflict that was in View from the Top by Rachel Lacey, I felt like we actually felt the conflict. When there was barely any, the little bit that we got, it actually felt like we got it. But I agree with that, Karina. Would you reread Nikki?
No, unfortunately.
Would you read more from this author?
I might give one more a try, but if it's the same formula, that's too much for me.
See,
So
I
it would
saw.
just depend. I would have to find one.
See,
Yeah,
I had saw that she had like a huge backlist, and I was like,
I did
okay,
see
I'm
that.
kind of excited for this. I think I might have one on my bookshelf. If I don't, then it's one on my wish list that I was looking at. Because I feel like the bowling one I have might be the same author. I
That
don't know.
one, there was one that started because like on Audible, it'll start another book like as a preview.
Yeah.
Um, of course, now it takes the time to take forever to load, but it started another one, and so I don't know. Maybe I'll listen to the preview and see if that sounds good. But I don't know if I would necessarily be excited to start.
Karina says I have other books on my radar from the author, so I will go in with adjusted expectations. Same.
Smart.
Yes.
Would you recommend this book to others?
I think I would if somebody wants something with no substance and a lot of sex and no conflict.
Something that is, if you want a book that is just happy, no third act breakup, no conflict, no.
If you just want a book that happens,
Or as
Sweet like
Karina
honey.
says, a book that is happy and horny.
yes.
Yes. She says she has interest in Sweet Like Honey, which is one that I'm kind of curious about.
Oh, I think that was the one that started. Let me see if it pulled back up. Oh yeah, Sweet Like Honey was the one that was doing the little preview.
See, that one just sounds cute.
Mm.
Exactly. Happy and horny.
Yeah.
That is the vibe for this book. Happy and horny.
To a T.
Yep.
Oh, I need to tick that off before I can go to the next banner. Duh. Any lingering questions or thoughts on the book that we haven't discussed?
I think I got everything out.
Okay. On a scale of 1 to Felix, where do you rate the love interest? And Felix is the love interest in
The
romantic agenda.
romantic agenda.
Yes.
I know. I was like, what the fuck is it?
I
Who
don't
is
know.
basically Felix is like 10 out of 10, best of the best of the best of the best.
Like you
What love
absolutely
interest
love the love interest.
are we rating?
Where would you put Fee? I'm gonna go with Fee because I hate to do this because straight people do this with queer couples all the time, but I would say Fee is the
more
man.
mad.
I don't. It's
Like
in terms of being like devoted and making sure that their partner's comfortable and taken care of and loved. I think I would give her like an 8.
Mhm.
But
yeah, I was thinking like a 7.
yeah,
I was looking at like a
she
7
was
or an 8.
she was a great partner in that sense.
To honor friend of ours, was anyone a hoe? Nate. A hoe being in Ba world, hoe is who is the worst character imaginable in this book.
Or like did the most asshole thing or said the most out of like line
Pocket
thing,
line
which he did all of those.
or
Yeah.
or pissed you off the most.
Yeah, it's
And
definitely
he just was all of them.
Mm-hmm.
And Karina gave her an 8 for Fee.
She does deserve it. She was a really good partner.
Would you consider this good representation of queer literature?
Yeah, because I think we also kind of talked about, right, like how it's a good sense of a community, like good sense of the queer community, because there's not that negative conflict with it. So I think so. I mean, well, especially because like Angel was more exploratory, like finding herself in her
Queerness.
Comfort
queerness,
levels.
yeah, lesbianness, and so I think, yeah, I think so. But I'm also not queer, so I don't know. You guys, Clint?
I think it is. I think it's a really good representation of. It's kind of a stereotypical representation of sapphics, but you can't have a stereotype if it's not like true to some degree. It's why we have stereotypes.
Yeah.
I hang out with far too many lesbians that are U-Haul lesbians that are like, oh, I went on this date with this girl. I'm moving in with her next week. I've only known her 24 hours. What? Week later, oh, we broke up. I'm moving in with her sister.
Yeah.
What?
What?
Final ratings. Did anybody's rating change?
Yes. Well, I wasn't really settled on a rating, I guess. So technically no, but yes.
What are you dropping it to?
Well, it's the
I think I'm going to give it a 2.5 or a 2. I can't decide yet, but I think 2.5 is fine. It's like middle of the road, right?
Mm-hmm.
But for me, it really was just like, I personally, with my experience with the book, would have loved to see a little bit more meat and potatoes, a little bit more conflict, a little bit more something outside of bedroom partaking. And I just feel like I didn't need 80% of the book to be that. And I just didn't. Again, if I take away that, what's really left of the book? So I think I'm gonna probably give it a 2.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna do it like a 3, because kind of like you said, it's like if you take away the sex, really what is there left of the book?
Yeah.
And I think that's why I'm sitting at a 2.5 now.
Yeah.
Is after the discussion and hearing that some of the thoughts that I was having, where I was thinking it's just me in this moment because of how I'm feeling, where I'm like, basically, F romance right now. I mean, I filmed my March TBR and I told everybody on the thing, I was like, I want as few romance books as possible. I want thrillers and horror and blood and things like that. That is my mood right now.
Well, I'm in the same way because like romance books for me right now, I'm really struggling with, and I think it's more like I am sick of. I love sex in books, but like I am sick of it. Like I just want a romance. I don't need to see what you're doing in the bedroom 24/7, and I think that's why I'm struggling with romance so much. So I mean that could have been also like part of what I'm dealing with as far as my reading goes with romance right now. But I think what's beautiful in every experience that everybody has with a book is what you experience during the book, right? It affects
Mhm.
everybody different with your personal experiences, your personal life in the moment, your feelings, if you want to just have fun with this happy horny book, or if you're wanting whatever difference or what's affecting you. So for me personally, I think I'm confident in my rating because of my experience with this book as a whole. But I'm also in the same boat as you. Like, I'm giving romance a break for a long time after this because I can't do it anymore. If I have to hear the word hoo-ha, but not hoo-ha, P word and penis or cock one more time, I'm going to lose my mind.
I mean, there are more words to use to describe things.
It's getting out of hand.
Granted, when certain words are used in romances, that
Like wet
pull you,
folds.
that just pull you out. I read one where it was like the velvet tunnel, and I went,
Oh my god!
what?
No.
What? I sheathed my sword in her velvet tunnel, and I went, okay, we're getting too descriptive here.
Must be what I don't like to an extent I can respect the hard P words and the C word, but like getting too creative with it, like it's not a rose petal. Okay, stop making this something that it's not. So I think I get frustrated with that too. It's like, okay, I don't know, I just need a break from romance. I need a break.
I was like, there's a few romances that I'm going to be reading because book clubs, and I'm buddy reading an MM series. So I'm like, if those are the only romance books that I'm reading, I'm fine with that right now. And I'm going to focus on other genres.
Yeah.
But Karina says, I may go down to a 3.5, but we'll have to think about it. I had a good time with it.
I feel like a time, and you're okay with the 4. Stay at the 4.
Yeah, stay at the 4. I'm happy with you having the 4.
I love that you had a good time.
I think now that I'm going down to a 2.5, I think also what's sticking in my head is I don't know if a week from now if this book is going to be rememberable to me.
Yeah.
That's why I went down to the 3.
And I think with romances, I need to be a little bit harsher with the way I rate. I can't just automatically, oh, I loved this, 5 stars, blah, 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 blah. But 2 months later, what happened in that book? Did I read that book? So I'm like, is it a 5 truly if I'm not going to remember it a couple of weeks down the line?
Yeah.
I can understand forgetting character names because we read so much and there's so many characters, but forgetting like major plot points, you're like, wait, what?
Were there any in this book though?
True. I don't care about substance apparently. H&H was my mood when I read this, and I did so quickly.
I need now a sticker that just says happy and horny.
Happy and horny. We need merch now that says happy and horny or H&H. Bob presents H&H books. Happy and horny.
If we weren't saying no to readathons this year, I'd be like, there's a weekend readathon idea, the happy and horny.
Well,
maybe that's an idea for next year.
Instead of R&R, come with us for an H&H weekend. Instead of rest and relaxation, come for the happy horny. Is this the book that had tunnel? I do remember hearing the word tunnel in this at one point.
Well, I did. I don't know if I remember tunnel, but it was like the scene when they were on FaceTime and she was like, "Oh yeah, it just like ate up or something about when she was using the toy on her." She said something about it like encompassing. It was a whole.
Yeah.
Thing. I did not like that either.
It was not used in the book.
Oh.
It wasn't?
I just looked it up because I looked it up in the book and I was like, it was, right? No, I guess not.
Maybe it was something like that was similar word. I just remember like a visual popping in my head and I went, this is not a visual you want to give to a woman by calling it a tunnel.
Yeah.
Just romance, Clint?
Those 6 stars seem to be flying.
Not this year, it hasn't.
Good.
I think I've given 2 or 3, which by this time last year I had like 5 or 6.
17. Oh.
I mean, last year.
Probably closer though.
All right. I do have to head out, guys, because I'm a little bit past where.
That's what I'm like. I'm trying to get down so that we can wrap up. Tunnel was a jump scare. I'd rather you be getting more 5 and 6 stars than 1s for sure. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so thank you everybody for joining. This was a blast. I'm so happy, Nikki, you joined us for this.
Well, thank you guys so much for inviting me and having me on as a guest and letting me chat with you.
You are welcome back anytime you want. I hope you guys join me, hopefully Drew, and Mandy next month for How to Date a Prince by Hayden Stone. Thank you everybody for joining us in the chat. If you like this video, hit that thumbs up. If you're new, hit that subscribe. And until next time, embrace your inner rainbow. Take care of your mental health. Hydrate or mummify. And until next time, I hope you guys have a fabulously gay day, month, year, whatever it is. I hope it's fabulously gay. Bye. In the broadcast.
Bye, guys.
In the broadcast. Broadcast in